What's up, everybody? I'm Chris from Rio. We're here in Buxton at the Lighthouse on Cape Hatteras, and we're checking out the all-new BWS Aeneema. The Aeneema improves on the performance of the BWS noise by adapting the kite geometry to provide a more nimble, higher performance, slightly gentler pull. The Aeneema is still 100% surf focused, just like every single kite in the BWS lineup. The Aeneema is available in 5.5, 7, 8, 9, 11 meter, and lucky number 13 meter sizes. So you've got a nice range of sizes to choose from. You're going to see the Aeneema is not offered in 15, 17, 19 meter sizes right now. And that's because kite surfing is not exactly super fun when you get into those really light wind conditions. Sometimes it's a better idea to just leave the kite on the beach and go surf if you've got to pump up a 17 meter. So you're going to see the largest size in the Aeneema is a 13, still nimble, still really fun to go out and shred the waves. And then of course, the smaller you get in the sizes and the windier it gets, the more fun your session is. The Aeneema improves on the performance of the noise because they've adjusted the geometry of the kite. They've narrowed the profile a bit, they've thinned out the wingtip a bit, and what that means is the pull is a little bit more gentle, and I keep coming back to the word nimble. And we don't want to confuse people and think that the kite has a weak pull, that it's not enough to get you up out of the water. Back when we had the original BWS noises, I'm a bigger guy, I loved them. We had a few lighter riders say, hey, this thing just pulls like a tank. And it's really grunty and low end, and it's hard to ride against the kite. Well, they fixed all that with the Aeneema. The Aeneema still delivers a really constant pull. You don't have to look at it. You can always see where it is in the sky when you're flying it just by feeling it through your arms. But it's not always yanking you off your board. It's not yanking you downwind. Most importantly, it's not yanking you off the line that you want to draw on the wave face. So the pull is sportier, it's nimbler, it's a more agile pull. But it's not that same grunty, like first gear pull that you would have gotten out of the noise. And in our minds, that's a huge improvement. The Aeneema offers really pivotal turning. It really likes to kind of turn in place in the sky around the center strut of the kite, rather than whipping from side to side of the window. What that's going to do is it allows us to turn, down loop, or otherwise loop the kite whenever we need to so that we can keep our line on the wave and keep the lines tight. And it's not going to deliver that crazy pull that yanks us up off our board. So classic scenario, if we're riding a wave and I need to straighten out in onshore conditions and ride towards the beach to get out of the way of a big closeout, that might reduce the line tension in my kite a bit. If I'm able to loop that kite, tighten those lines back up and ride away and not have that kite loop yank me off my board, the ability to do that is indispensable to get a kite surfer out of tricky situations. When we look at the construction of the Aeneema, everything is built super tough to withstand a good roll in the surf. When we come here to the center strut of the kite, we see that there's actually a large Dacron reinforcement that goes the entire length of the center strut, and you're going to see that repeated on the other struts. Also reinforcements in the trailing edge and along the wingtip. All this adds up to a kite that's reinforced in the right places, so you've got strength where you need it. Other places, like just in the middle of the canopy, you're saving weight where you don't need that extra reinforcement. One word that comes to mind immediately when you think about the Aeneema is drift. You hear that word thrown around a lot when you're talking about kite surf kites. The Aeneema nails drift. So what is drift? Drift means that when you reduce the line tension in your kite, whether it's an accident, whether you had to do it on purpose because you wanted to do a certain maneuver or go a certain way on a wave, when you reduce line tension on the kite has no input from you, the person steering the kite. Some kites, if they're not designed to drift well, they might just start to tumble out of the sky when those lines go slack. The Aeneema seems like it literally just floats up in the sky. It seems like I could wait forever to tighten those lines back up. So again, I'm going to use the example onshore conditions. If I'm riding a wave and I want to do a cut back that brings me towards the kite, slacks the lines a little bit, the kite is just going to drift, no problem. It's going to wait for me to do a different turn and draw the line I need to tighten those lines back up. Basically, having a kite that drifts really well means you can surf the wave you want to surf it and not be stuck to following the kite around because you're worried you're going to slack the lines. So if you're going to think of one word when you think of the Aeneema, drift is where it's at. even though the Aeneema drifts really well and that can help you get out of some sketchy situations, you're gonna put your kite in the water at some point. If you don't put your kite in the water, you're probably not having enough fun on your session. When you do crash the Aeneema in the surf, the relaunch is really easy. It rolls right up on the wingtip and comes up into the sky, releases from the water without a bunch of stickiness. That's gonna be super important. It gives you every possible chance to get your kite back in the sky before the next big set comes to munch your kite. One thing to point out about the Aeneema, it's marketed and designed as a surf kite, and it excels in the surf. That's one of the things that it does best. But that doesn't mean that you can't take the kite into the flat water. The kite will still do a jump. It's still gonna be really fun if you're tired of cracking the lip and you wanna go throw on your twin tip and do 40-foot donkey kicks out in the flat water. If you wanna go ride with your friends out in the flat water, the Aeneema can still free ride, it can still cruise, it can still jump. So you're not gonna be limited to just riding in the surf. It's just gonna excel in the surf. One other little piece of insider info about the Aeneema. The Aeneema utilizes a kind of complicated inflation valve. Luckily, they do have a backup 9mm inflation valve, but their main deflate-inflate valve is this really overbuilt EPI valve, I think is what they call it, the Black Beauty. And it's got like multiple stages that you have to screw together to inflate your kite, and then multiple stages you have to unscrew to deflate your kite. That's all good when conditions are mellow and it's warm, but if it's cold and you've got thick gloves on, or the conditions are firing and you're like in a rush to get out in the water, sometimes operating that system can be a little bit complicated. So that's our one piece of insider info. Do know that there's a 9mm inflate valve on the kite, so you're still gonna be able to show up at the beach, even if you don't have your special adapter that's required for the BWS inflate. You're gonna be able to borrow your friend's 9mm pump adapter, pump up your kite, get out there and get rocking. So why do you want the Aeneema? If you're someone that lives and breathes for kite surfing in the waves, the Aeneema should be one of the kites you consider, because it has really versatile performance across a wide range of conditions, whether you're kiting side off, side on, small and choppy, barreling, whatever. The Aeneema is going to adapt to whatever you're riding and allow you to have awesome sessions at any location around the world. So if you're a kite surf junkie, if you want a kite that you can throw 2 of them in your bag and travel the world and have awesome sessions anywhere, the Aeneema is definitely going to be it. You can learn more about the BWS Aeneema and all the BWS products at realwatersports.com.